She is the first woman or a lady who started coding. So her name is nothing but what? Lady Ada Lovelace. If you have answered all the questions properly, so then you will be able to get 70 on 70 without doubt. The examiner will going to give 2 programmers for the student. So at that time, what student must do? They have to write 2 programs but should execute only 1 program. Hello everybody, welcome you all to the introduction class of first PUC's Computer Science. Myself Rohini TS, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So before getting into the deep discussion regarding this subject, first I would like to have an introduction part. So we are all familiar with a word called computer, right? So do you believe that we have an abbreviation or an expansion for the computer? Yes. So we have an expansion for the computer or an abbreviation for the computer. So COMPUTER. So then what each keyword or each character represents. So here you can see that C is nothing but what? It is a common operating machine purposely used for technological and educational research. So then what is the abbreviation of computer now? You must be able to say that computer is nothing but it is a common operating machine which is purposely used for technological and educational research. Then who is the father of computer? Who is the father of computer science? If I ask you all these questions, then you are going to give me the answer like Charles Babbage, isn't it? Who is the father of computer science? You are going to give me the answer like Charles Babbage, but that is the wrong thing. So father of computer is Charles Babbage and father of computer science is Alan Turing. And here you can see one gorgeous lady. Who is this lady then? So she is the one first who started programming. So she is the first programmer of a computer science. We all know that in order to work with a computer, we must have the programs and what software. So in order to build that software, I must work with a programming. So you can see that she is the first woman or a lady who started coding. So her name is nothing but what? Lady Ada Lovelace. So she is the first programmer. When it comes to the father of a computer, I can say that father of a computer as a Charles Babbage. Then who is the father of computer science? The study of the computers and its technologies, softwares, everything comes under computer science. Then father of computer science is Alan Turing. So that is the next point you have to remember. Yes, ma'am, I have taken computer science as my stream in my first PUC, but I am from the non-technical background or I am from the non-computer science background. Then, which textbook should I prefer, ma'am? Or which textbook should I refer? So, when it comes to the textbooks, so here you can see that it is the textbook which is prescribed by Karnataka PU board. So this will be the Bible for your whole complete year. So for your first PUC's computer science, you can refer this textbook. So that is computer science which is prescribed textbook for first PUC. Also you can refer Sumukha publication for the student reference. So that book also, well, along with that you have to go with this textbook. Getting? Yes. So then what are the topics we're going to cover or what are the chapters that we have in computer science? Can you just guess how many chapters it has? So totally in computer science we are going to get 17 chapters in your first PUC. Don't get tensed about that. Each chapter will going to teach you something regarding the computers. So that will be more fun if you follow all these things. Then which is the first chapter? That is overview of a computer. So in this first chapter, we are going to discuss what you mean by computer and what are the basic terminologies should I get to know and how the computer will going to work and how it will be classified, what are the characteristics of computer and what are the applications and what are the generation of a computer. From the abacus to till date, we have several evolution of a computer. I am going to discuss in the first chapter, that is what? Overview of a computer. Then what will be the second chapter? So that second chapter will going to cover all the input devices as well as the output devices and then memory units. So that will be the second chapter, that is input, output and memory devices. So in that chapter we are going to learn about input devices, output and memory devices. Do you believe that we have 5 types of keyboards and 4 types of monitors? So I am going to discuss everything in detail in the second chapter. When it comes to the third chapter, that is data representation. So what is this data representation? Can computer understand Hindi, Telugu, Tamil? Is it? No, right? So then what computer can understand? So computer can understand only zeros and ones. So regarding that, I am going to discuss something regarding the machine languages, that is data representation. How to represent a data? How will be the conversion? What are the methods we have? How can I add binary data and all? So that will be our third chapter. When it comes to the fourth chapter, that is software concept. In order to work with computer, software is mandatory, isn't it? So in order to work with that software, I have 2 types, application software and system software. So I'm going to discuss that content in this chapter. That is software concept and what are the types of application software we have, what are the types of operating system we have and what are its functionality. Everything I'm going to discuss in this chapter. Then what is the next chapter? That is problem solving methodology. How beautiful life without problems, isn't it? So in order to solve all those complex problems, I am going to have some methodologies in order to divide or in order to solve the complex problem. So that methods we are going to learn in this problem solving methodology. And we have some of the basic concept of object oriented programming. That will be our 6th chapter, and actual programming gets started from this chapter, that is programming in C++. So in this chapter, actual programming languages get started and that programming language is C++. You are going to learn about C++ programming from this chapter. So after this chapter, we have some of the other chapters which comes under or which help us to have the programming knowledge. But I have not mentioned the names of that chapters. So under that, we are going to learn the programming skills of a computers. So further we have word processing, spreadsheet and web designing. So this is mainly we are going to learn about the designing, that we are going to work with HTML, and in coming to the word processing, I am going to discuss regarding the MS Word and how to use, what are the tabs we have, what and all we are going to call for that. Then when it comes to the spreadsheet, I am going to work with MS Excel. So when it comes to the last chapter, that is web designing, so there we are going to learn something regarding how to design a web page, what are all the tabs we have and all. Let me move to the next slide, that is blueprint of each chapter. So as I discussed earlier, so whole syllabus, computer science syllabus has been divided into 4 units, that is unit A, B, C and D. So in each unit, we are going to have several set of chapters. If you look into this table, you are going to have a brief idea regarding the marks distribution of each chapter. So if you consider a particular chapter, there I have discussed or there I have mentioned 1 mark question, 2 mark question, 3 and 5 mark question. So whether we are going to get 1 mark question from this chapter or whether we are going to get 3 or 5 marks question from particular chapter, that I have mentioned in this tabulation form along with the total marks of each unit. If I consider this unit A, that is fundamentals of computer. So in this I am going to discuss all the fundamentals things which is related to the computer. So there I have mentioned some of the chapter which comes under unit A. So when it comes to the unit B, that is problem solving methodology. In this we are going to focus on the how to solve a problem and how can be complexity can be reduced. By making use of some methods, we are going to solve that. So when it comes to the part C, that is programming in C++. As I told earlier, where the actual execution or actual programming gets started from this 7th chapter. If you look into the part C, that is programming in C++. So this is where the actual programming get started. So after that, here we have a 7th chapter, that is Introduction to C++, and data types, input and output operator is there, and some of the control statements. There we are going to discuss what are the control statement, how many types or methods we have. Everything I am going to discuss in that chapter. And arrays we have functions, that is library function, and then next chapter will be the extension of that one, that is user defined function. So here you can see the marks distribution of each chapter, that is 1, 2, 3 and 5 marks. At last, I have mentioned the total marks of each chapter along with a unit. So whether it is B or second unit B, so then I have to consider several set of chapter. Under that, you have to consider the marks distribution. So when it comes to the part D or unit D, so here we are going to learn about elementary concept of word processing, and spreadsheet is there and web designing is there. So each chapter will going to have its own weightage, and this whole syllabus will be framed for 105 marks. So in that you have to answer only 70 marks in your examination, because remaining will be the choice. So this is how the frame, or this is how the blueprint has been framed for the first PUC's computer science whole syllabus. Let me move on to the next slide. So in this I am going to discuss the marks distribution. In 100, how the marks will be distributed. When it considered to the computer science, there we have theory paper along with a practical examination. So when it comes to the theory examination, there you are going to write it for only 70 marks. So you are going to write an exam for 70 marks, that is theory examination. Then what about this practical examination? So that practical examination is for 30 marks. So together I can consider that for 100 marks. So when it comes to the theory examination, there you are going to write an exam for 70 marks. But when it comes to the examination of practical, that is lab sessions, in that you are going to get 30 marks. Totally it will be distributed to 100 marks. Yes. Then how the practical examination will be conducted? So how the marks distribution will be? Here you can see that. So we have several set of lab programs. I have several set of lab programs. So it may be 20 to 30. So in that I am going to give some programs. That means the examiner will going to give 2 programmers for the student. So at that time what student must do? They have to write 2 programs but should execute only 1 program. So when it comes here, writing 1 program from the section A and problem from either section B or a section C. We have 3 sections in the practicals, section A, B and C. So from the section A, you are going to get 1 question. So you are going to get 1 question in your examination. When it comes to section B or C, there will be a choice. So you are going to get 1 question out of the B or C. So if you are able to write all the sections questions, that means from section A you have to write 1 program. For either section B or C, you have to write 1 more function. So you are going to get total 12 marks. This is for section A and this is for either section B or C. So which comes to you in the examination. So then if you executed the program, so if you're done with the execution of any one of the program, then how much marks you are going to get? You are going to get 6 marks. So you are going to get 6 marks. Then if it is correct output, so if the output is correct, then they are going to give you 2 marks. So you are going to get the 2 questions. Out of that 2 questions, you have to write a program for 2 programs. That is 2 questions you have to answer. For the correct output, you are going to get 2 marks. Then Viva will be there. So what is this Viva, ma'am? We didn't heard anything regarding this Viva. So that is nothing but oral. So that you have come across in your school days. Viva is nothing but oral. They are going to ask some introduction questions or some questions. So you have to answer for that question. If you answer all the 4 questions, then you are going to get 4 marks from that. Then what will be the last 6 marks? You have to write a record. So that is practical record you have to write. So that is practical records has been awarded for 6 marks. So this is how the 30 marks of your practical examination will be going to distribute. So I hope you are cleared with this practical examination pattern. So totally for 30 marks, you have to write 2 programs. If you done execution, then you are going to get 6 marks. If it is the output or answer is correct, then 2 marks for that. And viva, that is oral question. If you have answered all the questions properly, then you are going to get 4 marks. Then if you submitted the practical record, then you are going to get 6 marks. So this is how the marks distribution of your practical examination will going to happen. Then how the question paper pattern will be. For 100 marks, in that we are going to learn 70 theory marks, or we are going to write theory examination for 70 marks. Then how will be the marks distribution? You can see here I have total 4 parts. So how many parts we have? I have 4 parts, that is part A, B, C and D. So in part A, you are going to get 1 mark 10 question. So that is for 10 marks. So you have to answer all the question. There is no choice in your 1 mark question. So when it comes to the part B, in that part B, you have to answer any 5 out of 8 questions. So here you can see that marks is 2 marks and number of questions is 5, that you must answer 5. So there will be 8 questions. Out of that 8 questions, you have to answer any 5. So that you are going to get 10 marks. So now I am done with part B. So what about this part C? So in part C, you have to answer any 5 questions for 3 marks. That is 3 into 5, totally 15 marks you are going to get. So there will be 8 questions in the 3 mark question. That is 3 marks. That is part C. Out of 8 questions, you have to answer any 5. So that you are going to get 15 marks. So what about this part D? So this is essay or long answer question, that is for 5 marks. So there will be 11 questions. Out of that 11 questions, you have to answer any 7. So 5 into 7, you are going to get 35 marks from this part D only. So if you prepare for this 5 mark question, then all these sessions will be easy for you. So that how the marks will be distributed. For the 70 marks, 1 mark 10 question will be there, 2 mark 5 question. So that you are going to get 10 marks, 3 mark 5 question. So you are going to get 15 marks. When it comes to the 5 mark question, you have to answer 7. So you can get 35. Totally it will be distributed and as a 70 marks. So you can easily score 70 on 70 if you concentrate all the topics. So I have already discussed regarding the blueprint of each chapter. If you consider each chapter will going to have its own weightage, right? So when it comes to the part wise, that is there we have 4 parts, A, B, C and D, right? So each part consists of several set of chapters. So when it comes to the part A or unit A, so from that unit A, totally you are going to get 24 marks. When it comes to the part B, so there you are going to get 19 marks. So from part C, you are going to get 48 high weighted portion. So when it comes to the D, you are going to get 15. At last, you are going to get 105 marks. Ma'am, already you have told us we are going to write the examination for 70 marks. Then how come this 105 marks? I told you, right? We have choices. So out of that 105 marks, you have to write for the 70 marks. So this is how the marks will going to distribute it for each part or for each unit. Let me move on to the next slide, that is term-wise syllabus. So here you can see that here we have a term-wise syllabus for your first PUC's computer science. Here we have 4 terms, term 1, term 2, term 3 and term 4. So you are going to get your midterm examination from the term 1 and term 2 and preparatory examination from term 3 and term 4. So together we are going to write an examination in your board examination. So this is how the term-wise syllabus has been framed by the PUC's board, that is Karnataka PU Educational Board. So this is how the each chapter will going to be distributed term-wise. So we are going to have the unit test, quarterly test and midterm examination will be there, preparatory will be there. So you have to be very conscious regarding the term-wise syllabus and what are the chapters that we are going to cover in each term and the marks weightage of each chapter. You have to be very conscious. So now I'm done with all the things. So at last what I have a model paper to show you. So how the question paper will be like. So you can see here I have displayed one model paper. So in this model paper, you can see that we have 4 parts. Part A, B, C and D. So how the marks will be distributed for each part, that I have discussed already. So this question paper has been framed for 105 marks, but you have to answer 70 marks. So you have to answer for 70 marks. So out of that, you will be having some choices. In 2 marks, there will be 8 questions. Out of that, you have to answer any 5. But when it comes to the 1 mark question, all the questions are compulsory. When it comes to the 3 marks question, there will be having 8 questions. Out of that 8, we have to answer any 5. Right? When it comes to the 5 mark question, there will be totally 11 questions. Out of that, you have to answer any 7. So if you have answered all the questions properly, so then you will be able to get 70 on 70 without doubt. So this is how your question paper will going to look like. I hope I have discussed everything clearly, so that now you got some idea regarding your first PUC's computer science. What are the chapters we have? How will be the marks distribution? How should focus on each chapter? What will be the marks distribution and weightage of each chapter? Everything you got to know that, along with a modern paper and term-wise syllabus. So that's all about today's session. I'm going to meet you in the first chapter of your computer science first PUC. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you very much.